from Italy. And then the first non-turbo car is Keke Rosberg in 9th fastest position with Bruno Giacomelli and the Candy Tolman. And that's 1 minute to go is being signaled. Start up your engine. Sid Olin of the president of Labatt's waving the flag there to advise the drivers they can now start their engines. The grid is now being cleared, Brian.
Well, I think my microphone is now working, Jackie Stewart. We finally got power back here in Montreal during our brief scene set there. My microphone still was not connected. We are indeed ready to go. The question now, Jackie, is what effect will this have on the drivers? They've had the cars turned off, so I don't think there's going to be a real problem. Although the sun is now out, the clouds have moved on. It's very hot. That could affect the turbos. They tend to run hot. And 8 of the top 9 are turbos. But what about the drivers? They were sitting out there in that hot sun. Finally, after about 20 minutes, decided to move on inside.
Well, Sid Olin there, you can see waving the green flag. This is not the start of the race. This is the pace lap. The drivers will now go around and warm up their tires, transmission, and everything else in preparation for the proper start. Now, the drivers themselves, Brian, you asked the question, they keep fairly calm, cool, and collected in circumstances such as this. Canada's not the only race that's ever had to be delayed at the start. The drivers learn to have a countdown in their own mind so that they don't get super sensitive to change such as we've just had to have here, of course, because of this electricity cut, which, of course, I'd like to just again clarify had nothing to do with the race organization or CBC. This is a problem of Montreal getting the power out to the island here. The cars are now, as you can see, weaving a little bit. You can see several of the cars moving back and forward on the racetrack. They're getting their tire temperatures pumped up so that the tire is at its best working condition. They will also be pressing the brake pedal a little bit with their left foot to get the brake pads and disc warmed up. And you can see the enormous crowd. I think it's the biggest crowd I've ever seen at any motor race in Canada. Very impressive indeed. Certainly a bigger crowd than Montreal has ever seen before. I think bigger than Toronto has ever seen. And there you see the candy till there of Michele Alboreto, the man who won in Detroit last weekend. The rest of the field filing through.
Very interesting point. I don't know if Barry Gill touched on it. I had no power to hear him, but René Arnoux, who is starting from the pole position in the number 28 Ferrari, had to start with a new engine today. He dropped all kinds of oil in the untimed practice run this morning. That is going to be very interesting.
Well, it is not a good thing to start with a brand new engine, and he starts from the pole position. Incidentally, on the pole position is written car number 27 in memory of Gilles Villeneuve, although it is 28 that, of course, will be starting from that spot. Running through the grid very quickly. Eric Warwick is at the 6th row of the grid along with Elliot De Angelis. Then there's Jacques Lafitte and the Tag Williams with Mark Schurer alongside him in the 7th row. Terry Boutsen of Belgium in the Arrows team on the 8th row along with Jean-Pierre Jarier. Then Alboreto way back in the 9th row, joining with him Nigel Mansell in the Ford-engined Lotus. Then Niki Lauda with John Watson teammates way back in the 10th row there. Guerrero of Colombia and Sullivan on the 11th row. Chicotto from Venezuela, world champion motorcyclist with Bussell of Brazil in the 12th row. And finally, the Ocello of Fabi, and finally Baldi with the Alfa Romeo taking up the end with a very high temperature here in Montreal.
You're not kidding. They tell us it is now 48 degrees Celsius on the track. No. It is very, very hot on the track, very humid here.
28, I think 28. It might be, yes.
28,
28 degrees Celsius, certainly. So now the cars are stopped. Now we have to have a look here when all of the cars have come under starters orders and they've all stopped. You see in the top right-hand corner of your picture, the traffic lights there. When red comes on, it means they will have 10 seconds. Within that 10 seconds, not necessarily 10 seconds before, the green light will be shown, and then the race will be underway. The flashing lights at the back are the medical and emergency cars for the first lap in case of an accident. The driver's now waiting for that red light to come on to put them under starters orders.
Jackie Stewart, a very tight, fast corner out of the start here in Montreal, making it much more dangerous than last week in Detroit. This is going to be interesting.
And they're off. They're off. They're a clear start there by Arnoux, being seriously threatened by Prost, but Arnoux takes it going in to that first corner. The cars have gone through cleanly so far. Very tight packs, very difficult, very close, could easily be a trouble of an accident, but number 28 has taken it, and it seems to me now that Piquet may have taken second place from from Prost. Let's wait and see from our nearest camera here. There was certainly a shuffle on that fast chicane as they went through there. This long snake of cars you can see getting to the slower part of the racetrack.
Two drivers, number 29, that is Mark Surer in the Arrows, and number 25, Jarier, both slow in starting from the grid. They had some problems, but they're out on the track now. So all 26 cars are on the track in this first lap.
There you see the midfield going through there. We'll have to get up and see who's leading this race sooner or later. At the present time, we're looking at the midsection. You can see one of the Renaults passing there. So there the Ferrari reach. Nelson Piquet seems to be in second place there in car number 5, the blue and white Brabham BMW, as they come into one of the faster sections. So it's Arnoux, then Prost is in third position, Patrese in fourth position, Tambay in fifth position, Cheevers in sixth position. There you see the red Ferrari car number 28, René Arnoux of France, the man in pole position. Nelson Piquet has passed Alain Prost to take over second position, I said. Prost in the yellow car is third, Patrese in the Brabham fourth, Tambay fifth, Cheevers sixth. And get to the end of this first lap. And there's a clean run for the first lap. No little confusion, no little trouble.
Back by the start-finish line comes number 28, René Arnoux, followed by the defending champion, Nelson Piquet from Brazil, who started in the number 3 position. Piquet has moved ahead of Prost. René Arnoux, who last week had the big lead in the Detroit Grand Prix, only to go out with mechanical troubles. The question is, how long will number 28 last here this afternoon in Montreal? Well, already one car into the pits, and that looks like number 25, Jarier in the Ligier.
Well, there we're back up to the head of the field here. There you see Cheever there. Then you have one, it's the Cesare following Cheever in the Alfa Romeo, it looks like. And there you see Jarier, the end of the day already, after only one lap. Jean-Pierre Jarier, who was slow to get out of the grid in the first place, obviously had a problem. Very disappointed Frenchman, looking for some success. He's been around for a long time. He must have competed in about 124 Grand Prix in total, maybe even 125 starts. He's not going to be driving much more today. So there, Arnoux is already opening a little bit of a lead, and Prost is pushing hard on Piquet, and in turn, Patrese is giving Prost a little bit of a hard time. It seems to me that Nelson Piquet is holding up these 3 cars immediately behind him. He may have made some small error of judgment. There seems to be a lot of smoke coming out the back of Piquet's car. In fact, he's been passed right there into second. No, there, he's still in second position. Prost is still third. These turbocharged cars producing around 660 brake horsepower, a lot of performance there, and they've already opened quite a gap.
We are underway with the power delay 1983 Labatt Canadian Grand Prix.
And there's Mark Surer of Switzerland in the Arrows car. He hasn't got out of his car. He's still got his seatbelt fixed up there. He's in radio communication with his team manager. He's been talked to into a headset in his helmet. That's what that cable is. The team manager on the left-hand side with the white shirt there, Alain, one of the co-owners of this team, discussing what is going wrong with him. He's pulling the switch out. Is he going to go back and rejoin the race, or does that mean that there's nothing else to be said? You can see a cooling duct, incidentally, coming into the side of the cockpit there to try and give him more cooling as we get back out onto the racetrack.
Very interesting that Mark Surer, who ran so well this year in Monaco, had troubles in Monaco, mechanical problems. He's out here early right now. Let's go down to the pits at Barry Gilles.
Well, already 3 cars in our pit. Jean-Pierre Jarier, we're not sure of his problem, but think it was because of that long weight jacket. Mark Surer, an unidentified clutch problem, and also Elio De Angelis. So that power cut has certainly taken toll of this race already. Back to you, Brian and Jackie.
Well, there's Nelson Piquet you're looking at right now, trying pretty hard. You can see that Arnoux in the red Ferrari has already taken a useful cushion. Piquet following very closely with Prost in the yellow and white car, pushing him quite hard. That's the Brabham BMW, the Renault Turbo, and then following behind him, you've got another Brabham BMW of Riccardo Patrese, the young Italian. very fiery driver. That's Piquet there from Brazil, past world champion, past victor here in Montreal. He's holding second position, and that's Patrese, that shot. There you see the pressure. So Patrese has now in fact taken over that second position while we were down in the pits. Patrese has taken second position. Riccardo Patrese, I thought that Piquet was having a little bit of trouble there, and he certainly had a little bobble because he was fast. Now Prost is putting the pressure on Patrese. That's Piquet we're looking at right now.
So in the fourth lap, it is still the number 28 Ferrari of René Arnoux who started in the pole position. The number 6 car, the number 2 Brabham, that is Riccardo Patrese, has moved to second. Alain Prost is third. And the other Brabham, Nelson Piquet, the defending champion in Montreal, standing in the number 4 position. Number 5, Tambay. Number 6 is the other Renault, Eddie Cheever, de Cesaris in the Alfa Romeo in the number 7 position. Bruno Giacomelli driving very well in a Tobin, standing number 8. The first of the non-turbo cars to start on the grid today, now running 9th, is the number 1 car of defending world champion Keke Rosberg. And in the number 10 position is Manfred Winkelhock in the ATS from West Germany. Mary Gill is standing by with Mark Surer from Switzerland. Mary.
Well, we have Mark Surer here, one of the first casualties. Brilliant Swiss drive, done so well this season. Mark, what happened to you?
On the start, right on the start, the differential broke. And so I moved on the grass to make sure, avoid any accidents. And so far we was lucky, but a similar thing has happened in Spa. I don't know what's wrong with our gearbox.
It's nothing to do with the long delay, Mark.
No, God, it's a mechanical failure, which is just material, I reckon.
Mark, better luck next time. The latest news from the pits, the problem with the Angelis was the turbine. Jean-Pierre Jarier, the gearbox. Back to you, Jackie and Brian.
No more tough luck for Mark Surer, who we talked about earlier, ran so well in Monaco this year, only to be knocked out by Warwick. You see the hairpin before the start finish here at the Villeneuve Circuit on Ile Notre Dame. René Arnoux continuing to lead Patrese by just under 2 seconds.
We then have Alain Prost, and behind him Nelson Piquet, Patrick Tambay.
Piquet has now passed Prost.
Yes, he's managed to slip past. I suspect what's happened
This
there
is Piquet.
is that Prost must have made a slight error of judgment. You know, when you've got that much power, Brian, it can be to your advantage, but if you make an error, the cars immediately behind you with a similar degree of power can certainly take advantage of you. Now, what we have so far omitted to tell you, that we will certainly see pit stops in this Labatt Grand Prix of Canada. I'm sure that's going to be one of the most exciting elements that we're going to see here today. It looks like by about laps 30, we're going to see cars coming in for fuel. And certainly most of the cars will be doing it. All of the leading cars will be experiencing that sort of trouble.
Well, as a matter of fact, the leader, René Arnoux, as we look at his teammate, number 27 in the other Ferrari, Patrick Tambay, René Arnoux is scheduled to come in for a pit stop in 30 laps on lap 35. So now, after 5 laps, it is Arnoux in the Ferrari in first place, followed by the Brabhams of Patrese and Piquet, and the Renault of world champion points leader Alain Prost.
Vierungen, zweiter also Patrese, dritter Piquet, vierter Prost, fünfter Tambay und sechster Cheever. Dann siebenter de Cesaris, achter Rosberg, neunter Winkelhock, zehnter Lafitte, elfter Giacomelli, zwölfter Bautzen, 13. Warwick, 14. Lauda, 15. Watson, 16. Mendel, 17. Alboreto, 18. Guerrero, 19. Sullivan. Michele Alboreto, der Sieger von Detroit, liegt also weit zurück, 17. Platz, 30 Sekunden Rückstand, verliert in jeder Runde 6 Sekunden auf den führenden Arnoux. De Cesaris im Kampf mit Rosberg, De Cesaris 7. Rosberg 8. De Cesaris hatte große Probleme im Training, Freitag eine Motorexplosion, 2 Kurven vor den Boxen und in der Box dann hat der Wagen Feuer gefangen. Der andere Alpha hatte bereits einen Defekt an der Einspritzung. Und im Abschlusstraining gestern die permanenten Getriebeschwierigkeiten des Alpha Turbos. Es ist der Boxenstopp von Nigel Mansell, der zweite Lotusfahrer in der Box. Brakes, Bremsen. Nigel Mansell lag nicht und den ersten 18. Ich kann Ihnen die erste Ausfallsursache melden. Marc Surer, der Schweizer, Differentialschaden, ausgeschieden bereits nach der ersten Runde. Damit der 4. Grand Prix hintereinander, bei dem der Schweizer wirklich Pech hat. Ich habe es Ihnen schon gesagt, Monte Carlo, 3. Platz, die Kollision, unverschuldet, heraufbeschworen.
Jackie Stewart and Barry Gill back at the Villeneuve Circuit on Ile Notre Dame in Montreal. Number 27 is the Ferrari of Patrick Tambay. Tambay right now running in 5th place. The leader is his Ferrari teammate René Arnoux, number 22, De Cesaris, and number 1, the defending world champion in the normally aspirated Ford engine Williams car, that is Keke Rosberg.
Well, Keke Rosberg now is attempting to get past De Cesaris there because he, of course, is riding with a lighter car. The turbocharged Alfa Romeo there is a heavier car to handle. It could be he's going to do him under braking under here. He's not been able to do it. De Cesaris has fended him off. Keke Rosberg has already gained himself 1 position. He passed Manfred Winkelhock, which gets him up into 8th position. He did start in 9th position. Is another effort to get... Look how he's crowned. And there's your, after 7 laps standing, Arnoux, Patrese, Piquet, Prost, Tambay and Cheever. All turbocharged cars in the first 6. Now, it's a question of Rosberg trying to hound De Cesaris into making an error of judgment. Rosberg's got a lot more experience than De Cesaris. He's giving him a lot of pressure there. It's never easy. Winkelhock in the yellow car and the turbocharged BMW ATS is behind him there. That's De Cesaris, young driver who's had an amazing number of accidents in his career. He's reputed to have crashed 18 cars in 1 season, writing them all off. Now you can see how heavily the pressure lays on him. And Jacques Lafitte, and here he goes trying to get a no. Still not enough power to get through under braking. Winkelhock in the yellow car is behind him, and immediately behind Keke Rosberg's teammate is Jacques Lafitte as he tries again to try and find a way through. The superior power of the turbocharged Alfa Romeo still beating him. Can he do it? No. De Cesaris, very determined, not trying to block him, you'll notice, not using the road unnecessarily, which shows a great deal of etiquette and good manners.
Number 22, De Cesaris, ran his first ever Grand Prix race here in Montreal in 1980. Right now, he is in 7th position. Keke Rosberg still trying to pass him and move up from 8th place.
Keke is a very aggressive driver. He's not one of the great smooth drivers in the world. Right now, what he's trying to do is not actually pass him, but harass him. He's on a line that he wouldn't normally be using, trying to fill the mirrors of De Cesaris and having De Cesaris think, what is he going to do next? Where is he? And if ever De Cesaris gets his mind away from driving and gets it onto the mirrors, then surely Rosberg will take advantage of him. I can't imagine De Cesaris will be able to keep Rosberg back for too long.
Jackie Stewart right now, Rosberg stands in 4th place in the world driving standings, only 6 points behind Alain Prost. He said he really wanted to win here today in Montreal because it's the halfway point of the season, and after this, the European tracks are wide open. They're fast with long straightaways suiting the turbo cars. Williams is a non-turbo car, so it's a big, big race here this afternoon for Rosberg.
Yes, he is driving the Ford power unit, and of course we do recognize that the normally aspirated engines are giving away as much as 150 brake horsepower to the turbocharged engines. The sort of place that he can pass is right here, and he nearly got his front wheel chopped off. De Cesaris is certainly not handing him it on a plate, but then again, why should he? After all, it's his race too. No, Rosberg is looking for points in this World Championship. He can hardly expect to win the championship this year by victories. What he has to assume is that if he collects enough points, and here we go again, trying this ducking out, drafting tactic, but he's not really close enough to do that. You see how close he gets on the exit of a corner. The normally aspirated engine is carrying less fuel at the beginning of the race, and Rosberg will be coming in for fuel during this race. He'll be coming in to re-top up his fuel tank. So right now he's a much more agile car in the turbocharged Alfa Romeo.
The leader is number 28, René Arnoux, in the number 2 Ferrari, the man that took the lead early last week in Detroit. Arnoux is followed by the 2 Brabhams, Patrese and Piquet. Now watch Arnoux come into the hairpin before the home stretch. Here comes Patrese, 4.2 seconds behind.
Well, Patrese, of course, was winner of last year's Monaco Grand Prix. There you see the leader of this race. I chose him yesterday, maybe foolishly, to be a winner, but I don't think so. René Arnoux expects a little bit of luck. That there is Nigel Mansell, one of the back markers, about to be lapped. He's had a slow start. There you see Patrese filling the screen, Piquet after him, Prost after him, then Patrick Tambay and Eddie Cheever in the yellow Renault.
A lot of people were picking Nelson Piquet right now, running number 3 to win here today. He is the defending champion, and of course we had a Brazilian winner here yesterday, Jackie Stewart, and Roberto Moreno in the Players Quebec Mondial race. But right now the man he has to catch is René Arnoux and teammate Patrese.
René Arnoux getting quickly past Nigel Mansell, who moved over, being the English gentleman that he is. René Arnoux, the young, dynamic Frenchman, a man of tremendous physical condition. He really does like to keep into shape. Race drivers, for those of you at home who don't fully understand the physique required to drive racing cars, these Formula One cars are difficult to drive. There's a lot of muscular tension involved. These fellas keep themselves extraordinarily fit. The car that you're looking at right now, Patrese, he used to be a skier, junior ski champion of Italy, very talented downhill skier. He's been a fit man in his day. Alain Prost for Renault used to be an excellent football player. And certainly these drivers are not just talented at driving cars. We are now on the 11th lap of this 70-lap race here for the Labatt Grand Prix of Canada. In a slightly overcast sky, very warm, very humid, but nevertheless good racing conditions. Again, Mansell moves over to allow Patrese to go through. And that there is Piquet and the Brabham, also passing Mansell, whose car is obviously in trouble. And we've got a problem in the hairpin here. Rosberg, yes, that was a little coming together almost. That was a thing with the Cesaris. They did seem to come into contact there. This is the sort of incident. Here we can see it again in slow motion. Rosberg comes up to the inside. The Cesari on the outside. The Cesari turns in to take his normal corner. Oh, the car bounces high. I would not be surprised if there's suspension damage to Rosberg's car. These wishbones and uprights, suspension parts made very light in the interest of speed, but sometimes a little light for strength. If they're bent or twisted, well, of course, the alignment of the car goes out. The car does not steer truly or correctly, and the driver will then start to have troubles. Also, generally, you will see the front wing may well be damaged in the car of Rosberg right now. Those are the standings after 11 laps.
René Arnoux in the number 28 car, the number 2 Ferrari the leader. As we take a look at the Brabhams, that is Nelson Piquet, number 5, defending champion, number 27 Tambay in the Ferrari, followed by Alain Prost, number 15 in the Renault, and his Renault teammate, car number 16, American Eddie Cheever. Tambay, you're looking at Tambay, car 27, currently in 5th place.
He under a little bit of pressure of the Renaults right there. And there you see the slow-mo here of this pass, and there's the Ferrari going outside of Alain Prost there as they come through. Look at it on the inside there. What a clever little move Patrick Tambay put on there. I'm sure he caught Alain Prost completely by surprise. So that puts him into 4th position. Very useful for Patrick Tambay because he is in contention for the World Championship, sitting in 3rd place right now. And of course, points in the World Championship, 9 points for 1st place, 6 points for 2nd, 4 points for 3rd, 3 points for 4th, 2 points for 5th, and 1 point for 6th position.
The 2 Renaults are chasing number 27, Patrick Tambay, the winner this year at San Marino, as Ferrari tries for only its 2nd win of this 1983 season. Car number 15, Alain Prost, followed by his American teammate Eddie Cheever. The battle right now for 3rd place.
I think you're going to see Eddie Cheever passing his number 1 teammate Alain Prost in a short time. The race is at the moment in a sandwich of the 2 Ferraris, with inside that sandwich the Brabhams. As we look down from our helicopter shot, We have 22 cameras around this racetrack and our CBC coverage of the Labatt Grand Prix of Canada, servicing hopefully as good coverage as we can supply. This is the race that's going right on now, passing the start-finishing line. Alain Prost in the lead 15 car, and remember it was him who took us round the racetrack in his race car earlier on today. If you're tuned in, and Cheever trying to overtake on the inside, doesn't make it. Monsieur Prost said, "Not this time, young man."
Is there a gentleman's agreement, Jackie Stewart, between the two? Prost is the #1 driver on this team. Perhaps is Cheever ordered to stay back and don't pass Prost?
It rather depends on what the rest of the race is doing. Alain Prost, remember, is leading the World Championship only by 1 point from Nelson Piquet, so it is important for him to pick up as many championship points as possible. So he doesn't want to give a position away unless it's absolutely necessary. If, on the other hand, he were really holding up Eddie Cheever, who had an opportunity to regain positions and perhaps get on to the first or second position in the race order, well then, of course, Alain Prost would probably let him through, and he may well get team orders just to do that very thing.
The two Renaults of Prost and Cheever. Prost is standing in #5 position. Standing 6th is Eddie Cheever. They are 12 seconds behind the leader, René Arnoux, in the #28 Ferrari. We'll return to live coverage of the 1983 Labatt Grand Prix of Canada as Sports Weekend continues from Montreal.
Was natürlich keine Punkte gebracht hat. Ansonsten für Niki Lauda im Kanada Grand Prix nie Glück, immer nur Ausfälle, Zwischenfälle. Eddie Cheever ist mittlerweile an Alain Prost vorbeigegangen, unmittelbar vor den Boxen, vor der Renault-Box, und hat damit in der 14. Runde den 5. Platz im Rennen eingenommen. Platztausch also zwischen den Renault-Fahrern. Eddie Cheever ist jetzt 5. und Alain Prost ist 6. Bevor ich Ihnen sagen kann, warum Niki Lauda ausgeschieden ist, hier noch einmal diese sehr, sehr saubere Überholmanöver. Eddie Cheever und Alain Prost, eine Wagenbreite lag zwischen den beiden Renault-Fahrern. Prost hat seine Teamkollegen also hier sicherlich nicht behindert, obwohl es bei Renault ja ganz klare Anweisungen gibt. Eddie Cheever hat Alain Prost unter allen Umständen vorbeizulassen. Umgekehrt gilt das natürlich nicht, aber Prost hat wahrscheinlich gemerkt, dass der Wagen von Cheever schneller ist und dass Cheever schneller fahren kann als er selber. Darf ich Ihnen ganz rasch Niki Laudas kanadische Grand Prix-Serie rekapitulieren? 1972 wurde er in Mosport in der ersten Runde disqualifiziert wegen Anschiebens. Er ist damals nicht vom Start weggekommen. 17 Hundertstel sind zwischen Cheever und Prost. Lauda also 1972 in Mosport disqualifiziert wegen fremder Hilfe, angeschoben am Start. Er hat damals so viel Schmutz in den Gasschieber bekommen, dass er also unmöglich weiterfahren hätte können. 1973 eine Sternstunde.
We have Eddie Cheever in 5th position, Alain Prost in 6th position. In that car number 27, you see the 4th position man, and that was Patrick Tambay. There he is again, keeping the number 27, which was that, of course, carried by the late Gilles Villeneuve, very much to the fore here in Canada.
So Ferraris right now are running 1st and 4th. Arnoux the leader. Tambay is 4th. Tambay number 27. And he is chasing the two Brabhams. Defending champion Nelson Piquet 3rd. Ricardo Patrese standing 2nd. Although he's 2nd, he's a full 9 seconds behind Arnoux.
Now, this is a real good battle that we're seeing going on here. Andrea Di Cesare there is in the white car. That's Winkelhock there in the 9th car. He's been followed by that car, Di Cesare, and there are the two Williams cars of Lafitte and Rosberg, really hounding him because of that little shuffle that we had at the hairpin that we saw a little while ago. That was what was happening. There's Rosberg in the leading Williams car there. The first of the white cars in your picture is Keke Rosberg, the reigning world champion from Finland, closely followed by the other white car of Jacques Lafitte. These are the Tag Williams cars, but really the person they're hounding is Andrea Di Cesare, and of course, keep in mind that Rosberg already has been in contact with Di Cesare at the slow-moving hairpin, seems not to have damaged his car badly enough to truly affect the handling. Even the front wing doesn't seem to be affected, so he was rather lucky. This is quite a battle going on. It's quite far down. In fact, it's for 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th positions. And here we have problems for Nelson Piquet. He's got a trouble. He's slowly coming to a stop. He's coming into the pits. The man that Barry Gill chose to win this race, sadly, it looks like his day may be over. The Brabham BMW of Nelson Piquet of Brazil, car number 5 coming into the pits. This is not a routine fuel stop. He may, however, take the opportunity of filling up with fuel while he's in there. It would be wrong not to take advantage. While the going is good, no, they're not doing that. They're not changing wheels. They're doing some adjustment. They had a ruler out there, one of these metal rulers out there. There's a lot of people. There are enough around there to eat the car, never mind repair it. They're very busy. While out on the racetrack, incidentally, Keke Rosberg has slipped past the Cesare in the Alfa Romeo, the battle we were looking at. But look, Nelson Piquet is climbing out of his race car. That's a bad sign. It looks like they're closing the day, closing the office for the day, Brian.
I'm afraid that's it, Jackie Stewart, for Nelson Piquet, the defending champion here in Montreal, and a winner so far in 1983 in the first race of the year in his native Brazil. Piquet, at the time, was running third behind René Arnoux in Ferrari's second car, and his teammate Riccardo Patrese. Now, the car you're looking at right now is number 22. That is Andrea de Cesaris. In the Alfa Romeo, he is standing in 8th place. He now moves up to 8th with Piquet out of the race. That's Winkelhock, Manfred Winkelhock, car number 9. Winkelhock is in 6th place in the ATS Turbo.
Then immediately behind him is Keke Rosberg. Keke Rosberg, an enormously spirited driver. And he's really got this far in the non-turbocharged car just by the spirit of his driving. He's already been able to handle the Cesare. Now Jacques Lafitte, his own teammate in car number 2, the white and green car of the Tag Williams team, is trying to hound the Cesare. He's trying to slip inside. Not there, my dear. Is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? He's done it. Oh, that's what you call close motor racing, and he's got the slider now. Will the Cesare take advantage of him, and acceleration going along here with the turbocharged power? The Cesare's trying all he can, but he won't do it before the pass sweeps here, and you can't pass no car in there, Brian.
Manfred Winkelhock, car number 9. Let's have a look at that pass again on the inside.
Lafitte showing great authority there, and De Cesare being prudent, but at the same time not giving any halves at all. It was a darn good pass, well executed by Jacques Lafitte. Now, down in the pits is Barry Gill, and he has, we think, Nelson Piquet with him as Danny Sullivan comes into the pits.
Well, as you know, this is a man I thought was going to win the race, Nelson Piquet. Nelson, what happened?
Well, on the beginning, I have a little bit of the throttle. I didn't have a good response. And something was broken with between the two butterflies, you know, between the...
Nelson, we're very sorry to see you not winning the race again. Thank you for talking to us. Back to you, Jackie.
Well, we're back, and we have, of course, this battle going on. It's a little bit further back in the field. It's for 6th, 7th, and 8th position. Right now is Winkelhock in the yellow car. He's being pressed by Jacques Lafitte in the other Williams, and there you see that Rosberg has got past Winkelhock. That's the white car, Keke Rosberg, leader in the World Championship at this time. And here we go back to our race leader for the Labatt Grand Prix of Canada. We have completed 18 laps by the leader of this 70-lap race, René Arnoux, and his flame red Ferrari is another car. Seems to be in trouble.
That's
Here
Johnny
comes
Chicano, the former world champion motorcycle driver in the Theodore, car number 34, appears to be out of the race, as the leader is still René Arnoux, car number 28. Arnoux now has a 9-second lead over Patrese and Brabham. Arnoux coming into the hairpin turn and past the grandstand. And here comes the leader of the 1983 Labatt Canadian Grand Prix, René Arnoux. Let's run it down. Arnoux is first, followed by Patrese and Brabham. His Ferrari teammate Tambay is running third. The Renaults are 4th and 5th. That is Cheever and Prost.
the slow-moving car you saw in your picture was Johnny Cicotto moving over there, and it's him that's coming into the pits right now. Danny Sullivan, incidentally, has been into the pits, had his problem rectified, he thinks, and has rejoined the racetrack. So there we are. That's the way that it seems at the present time. More business in the pits. No doubt Barry will be finding out what's the problem with Johnny Cicotto.
Johnny Chicano drove his first ever Grand Prix this year in Brazil. His best result to date was a 6th place finish at Long Beach. That is car number 16, the number 2 Renault, driven by American Eddie Cheever, who right now is standing in the number 4 position. Cheever leading his teammate Alain Prost. Prost, of course, is the leader in the world driving standings by only 1 point over Nelson Piquet. Piquet is already out of this race, so Prost could increase his lead today. Another car into the pits, and that is Manfred Winkelhock, I believe, car number 9, the ATS Turbo from West Germany.
He's having a wheel change. He's also having fuel put in, I think. Manfred Winkelhock getting rear wheels changed there, getting new rubber on and getting fuel out. Just below our commentary position here as he burns rubber as he leaves the pit to join the racetrack. Incidentally, a great battle coming on here. Patrick Tambay has closed right up in Riccardo Patrese. This is the battle for 2nd and 3rd position here. Patrese just going out of your picture. Car number 27, the red Ferrari, being driven by Patrick Tambay, the man 3rd place in the World Championship right now. Progressively doing well for Ferrari. Keep in mind that the Ferraris are now in 1st and 3rd position. And of course, Patrick Tambay seriously threatening Patrese because he's truly caught him up considerably.
Jackie, we talk so much about the driver standings as we look at the Ferrari of number 27, Patrick Tambay. There is also a constructor's standings, the standings for the teams, and right now, Renault is leading that, followed by Williams and Ferrari. However, the Ferraris running 1st and 3rd here this afternoon could change all that.
Patrick Tambay certainly wanting to do that. Ferrari is a great old man, known as the Commendatore. He's 85 years young, you could almost say, an amazing man, still rules the roost in Maranello, and of tremendous dedication to motorsport, has contributed more than anyone else I can think of in the sport.
And Patrick Tambay is chasing the first car on your screen, the number 6 car. That is Riccardo Patrese and the Brabham. His first and only Grand Prix win was last year in Monaco. One of the Lotuses is now into the pit.
This seems to be Nigel Mansell, who's been going slowly so far, doesn't seem to be going as well as he would like to. Putting rubber on the back, putting fuel in, that's the fuel hose has been removed from Birmingham. He's got new rubber all the way around. He's back into the race as we still see Patrese is still keeping a handle on the Ferrari. The yellow car you see there is Manfred Winkelhock. He is about to be lapped by Patrese. He's way back, Winkelhock, in 15th position right now. But he will gain a few spots, but he's trying to stay unlapped from these 2 drivers. He, remember, went in for fuel and tires. He'll have to be careful that he doesn't hold up Patrese here, because that will allow Patrick Tambay to get a lot closer, as in fact he has. Winkelhock moves over like the gentleman he should be. Grand Prix drivers have gone a fair bit to get to the position they're in. They've done a lot of racing, sometimes through Formula 4 and Formula 3 and Montreal, Formula 2, Can-Am, to finally get to really the top of the mountain, which is Grand Prix racing.
I tell you something, the car on the left, the Ferrari, number 27, Tambay, he is getting ready to make a run at 2nd place, and Riccardo Patrese.
In the meantime, out in front, René Arnoux is still holding more than a 10-second advantage on Patrese. It's a comfortable lead with 21 laps completed of this 70-lap race. Glorious sunshine. You can see the shadows here of this beautiful island circuit. The Circuit Gilles Villeneuve and the Ile Notre Dame and beautiful downtown Montreal and the skyline. Quite often you will see it in our shots.
It is very, very hot, very, very humid. You take a look at the top 6 cars. Rosberg is the only non-turbo. The turbos have dominated here Friday and Saturday in practice. They're dominating here in the race today as we look at Patrese in 2nd place, followed by Tambay in the Ferrari. The question is, with this tremendous heat and humidity here this afternoon, will the turbos be able to hold up this afternoon? The leader, René Arnoux. Patrese is 2nd, Tambay is 3rd, and we join Barry Gill in the pits.
Well, the men behind me, another set of disaffected drivers. They are, in fact, the Coleman pit crew, waiting for one of the pit stops, which are a completely new feature of Grand Prix racing this season. Now, this may seem strange to those of you interested in Indianapolis racing, but pit stops have been forced upon Formula One by the thirsty turbos, by brake wear, and above all by tyre wear. So as Jack has explained, the men out on that grid now, out on the track now, are trying to build up a sufficient lead so they can come in. They've only got a half tank of fuel, specially soft tyres, so they can refill and change their tyres, and their target for that is just 15 seconds. In about 5 laps' time, there'll be more action here in pit lane than out there on the track. Back to you, Jackie.
Well, Barry, thank you very much. Back on the racetrack, you see the ATS car of Manfred Winkelhock sitting himself quite far down in 15th position. While we're looking at these cars, let us quickly run through the order after 21 laps at the moment. We are now on the 23rd lap in the race, but let me refer back. Covering 22 laps, let me read them to you. René Arnoux is first. Patrese is second. Tambay is third. Cheever is fourth. Prost is fifth. Sixth is Keke Rosberg. Seventh is Jacques Lafitte. Eighth is De Cesare in the Alfa Romeo. Ninth is John Watson, just given the MBE by Her Majesty the Queen yesterday, it was announced. Derek Warwick is 10th. 11th is Terry Boutsen in the Arrows. 12th is Giacomelli in the Tolman. 13th is Alboreto, and keep in mind Alboreto will not be coming in for fuel, they tell us. He's back in 13th position, the winner of the Detroit Grand Prix. 14th is Guerrero. 15th Winkelhock. 16th Bocel from Brazil. 17th Mauro Baldi. 18th Fabi, the brother of the man who led the Indy 500. 19th right now is Danny Sullivan, who's been in the pits. So that's the order up into the 19th position as we see it right now.
René Arnoux in the number 28 Ferrari, now with a 7.5-second lead over Ricardo Patrese. Nelson Piquet, the defending champion from Brazil, a winner so far this year in Brazil, and certainly one of the favorites here today, is already out of this race. He was running third at the time. We take a look at the high shot. That is the start-finish area on your left, the hairpin before the start. They're coming into it right now. René Arnoux, who drove for Renault in the past, is trying for his first win of 1983 and the second for Ferrari, the green car that went through ahead of them, one of the Tyrrells, Danny Sullivan.
Also missing from our pictures here, and we're trying to find out where he went amiss. In fact, is Nicky Lauda. We don't seem to have any trace of him. We certainly had him on our lap chart for a little while, and then we seem to have lost him. Some 10 laps after the beginning of the race, we did see Nicky Lauda still in circulation, but he is not to be seen on the racetrack. There's been no incidents on the track, so it must have been some form of mechanical failure without allowing him to get back to the pits.
And René Arnoux, Jackie, continues to lap the slower cars. The white car he just passed, car number 30, is the Arrow of Thierry Boutsen from Belgium. Arnoux, who had the big lead 1 week ago in Detroit, only to break down, leads here today. And really a remarkable story. The fact that he is still running so strongly is that he had trouble in the untimed practice this morning. They were leaking oil on the track. They had to replace the engine. So far, the turbo engine is holding up. Ferraris are running 1 and 3.
Well, there we see some of those colorful Ferraris. A lot of Italian people in Canada, they come out to wave their Ferrari flags with great vest. There you see car number 28. It's a pretty tight little cockpit they have in these racing cars. You can see there's very little room for the drivers. René Arnoux is a man of what I would call average height. Some people may call him small, but I think average height would be a better description, being of around the same size myself. Certainly, he slips into that cockpit very well. There you see the Eddie Cheever with the Renault, Patrese with Tambay closely behind, riding right over that curve. That wasn't too pretty a sight, Brian, because when they ride a curve like that, they always have the risk to get themselves in trouble. And here you see, that's the Renault of Eddie Cheever. He's coming up behind a slower car. He's getting past there, and that is the car of Guerrero. He hopes not to be held up in any way. If he's having trouble, he'll raise his hand to try and allow the flag marshals to see him, but with that turbo power, he can easily power himself by.
Car number 16, American Eddie Cheever, raised in Italy. His best Grand Prix result to date was a second 1 year ago in Detroit. And right now, Cheever, number 16, you can tell him apart from the other Renault of Prost by the red helmet. And Cheever right now is running in the number 4 position, trying to catch car number 27, Patrick Tambay.
Patrick Tambay riding over that curb, and the whole car taking off, as you saw there. This is the great advantage we have to show you this kind of slow motion. You can see the sort of acrobatics that these cars have to get over if the drivers make errors of judgment, and that was an error, Mr. Tambay.
And Mr. Tambay right now is beginning to close the gap on Riccardo Patrese, who is standing in the number 2 position as he goes by the Tolman. Tambay has just passed the Tolman and now closing the gap on number 2, Riccardo Patrese. That's Patrese into the corner, followed by Tambay.
Okay, Riccardo Patrese, actually number 6 car, but number 2 in the field. He's lying in second place, as Brian pointed out. Tambay doesn't seem to be making a great impression on him, Brian. He's kept about the same distance now for some time. He's not letting him get away, but also he doesn't seem to be able to close the gap too easily. Keep in mind that before too long, we're going to see some pit stops coming in. I would say within the next 10 laps, you're going to see quite a deluge of pit stops, and the Ferraris and the Brabhams will probably be amongst those.
Going to be very interesting, Jackie. We're through now 27 laps. The leader, Arnoux, is scheduled to come in on lap 35, and his teammate Tambay, who is running second, is scheduled to come in on lap 33. Patrese should come in shortly after. We'll continue with live coverage of the 1983 Labatt Grand Prix of Canada from Montreal. Welcome back to the Gilles Villeneuve Circuit in Montreal. I'm Brian Williams, along with 3-time world champion Jackie Stewart and the man in the pits from London, England, Barry Gill, as we look at car number 6. That is Riccardo Patrese in the Brabham, currently running second, some 7 seconds behind the Ferrari of René Arnoux. Patrese is leading another Ferrari. There's Patrese. Here comes the other Ferrari. This is Ferrari 27, Tambay. He is in third place. Standing fourth is the Renault of American Eddie Cheever. His teammate, the world driving leader, car number 15, Alain Prost, is currently in 5th place. 6th is the first of the non-turbo cars, the defending world champion, Keke Rosberg in the Williams. His teammate, Jacques Lafitte, a winner here in 1981, is standing 7th. Standing 8th, the turbo Alfa Romeo, car 22, Andrea de Cesaris. And now, moving up into 9th place is John Watson. And Jackie Stewart, as we look at the top 6, we should talk about the crafty one, John Watson. They don't do very well in qualifying, but they do so very well when it comes to the race. Car number 1 is Rosberg. He is 6th.
Yes, the picture that we're seeing right now is the duo, actually, of the Tag Williams team, Keke Rosberg and Jacques Lafitte. Jacques Lafitte, in fact, is catching up Keke Rosberg. He was further behind there. It's just a question of them running to team orders at this time. It could be that Keke Rosberg's made a little error of judgment to allow Jacques Lafitte to get quite as close as he is to him. But you can see that they've run away from the rest of the field, so they've got a little cushion there before de Cesaris, although at this time they don't have Alain Prost in sight. They'll still, of course, keep in mind that they will be coming in for fuel. Both of those cars will come in for refueling and for tires. There's a tire war going on as well as an engine war here in Grand Prix racing at this time. And of course, we're live here at the Labatt Grand Prix of Canada under beautiful conditions. The summer, everybody's moving around in great condition, as is this man here, car number 28, the leader of our race in the Ferrari, and he's pointing to the front now. He's either going to come in for fuel,
maybe tires.
He's either pointing forward to say he's coming in one more lap, or there is some problem with his car. Now, this for a driver is a difficult thing. It's very difficult indeed. And wait a minute, just as we pass our commentary position here, we notice that Patrick Tambay is in trouble. Tambay, the teammate of this man you've just looked at, has had some problems.
He's been passed by Cheever.
He's just been passed by Eddie Cheever. He went past our commentary position going rather slowly. He may have missed a gear and therefore not allowed himself to get sorted out clearly. So the position now would be, after they pass the finishing line here, is that they exchanged, with 3rd place now being held by Eddie Cheever and 4th being held by Patrick Tambay.
American Eddie Cheever, the yellow car, number 16, is now running third. His teammate, Alain Prost, is in the number 5 position. And the pit stops become so very, very crucial at this point. Cheever will probably come in within the next 5 or 6 laps. And the Lotus is into the pits. That is number 12, Nigel Mansell. Talking about the pit stops, though, Jackie Stewart, René Arnoux, the leader, is scheduled to come in at lap 35. That's 6 laps from now. Very quick there for Mansell.
Well, Mansell, this is his 3rd time in the pits, actually, Brian, so he's obviously having trouble.
Yep.
There is a battle of the tyres here. I noticed that each time they came in and changed tyres, so it could be that his tyre manufacturer is not finding the correct solution to his problems, and he's having to keep changing tyres. So there's Pirelli as he is using, then there's Michelin as the Renaults are using, and then the Goodyears are using Goodyear. So it's quite a war of the rubber.
Eddie Cheever, who has passed Patrick Tambay, and let's have a look at the pass.
Well, Eddie Cheever's there, in fact, is passing a slower car in the inside of the racetrack there. That was not the car of Patrick Tambay as it happened. But nevertheless, Eddie Cheevers now sees himself comfortably in 3rd position. He's wearing that red and blue helmet, car number 16. Used to drive for the Tyrrell team. He's come in from a very young age in motor racing. He went go-kart racing, and he certainly got quite a lot of experience.
He was telling me today, Jackie, that he likes Montreal. He was born in the United States, raised in Italy. He considers himself actually halfway between North America and Europe, and he says that's how he views the city of Montreal. It's not the United States, it's not Europe. He loves this city. He loves to race on this Villeneuve circuit, and right now he is standing in 3rd place. Arnoux is the leader, followed by Patrese, Cheever, Tambay in the 2nd Ferrari, then Prost, then the 2 non-turbo cars of Rosberg and Lafitte.
It is interesting to note to our audience that, in fact, Patrese is closing the gap on René Arnoux. It was a 10-second lead. It's now just over 8 seconds, but Patrese is behind Arnoux in the leading Ferrari. Here you see Patrick Tambay, who certainly has lost a great deal of ground on Eddie Cheever. Patrick Tambay, I think, may well be in some sort of trouble. He's certainly not going as well as he was earlier. It seems that there's... Look at this. He's really gesturing to his pit. Now, what can the pit take from that? This is, as a driver, I was always confused. I was so frustrated. I wanted to talk to my pit. I wanted to tell them what my troubles were. So I shook my fist and I waved my arms like he's just doing. And, of course, nobody knew exactly what was happening. Barry Gill is down in the pits with a man that we posted missing a wee while ago, and that man is Niki Lauda. Barry?
Yes, Jackie, one of the most popular drivers in the world, Niki Lauda. Niki, what happened?
Tried to outbrake Giacomelli, and I braked it a little bit too late. Got the car sideways and stalled it, actually, because just before I spun, I could stop it. And I couldn't get the engine run again.
Niki, a very honest explanation. No driver's excuses.
My fault.
Sorry to see you here. Thank you for talking to us. Niki Lauda, back to you, Jackie, a very honest driver.
Refreshing to see an honest driver, Jackie Stewart.
Well, I tell you, you don't see too many of them. I think that's the mark of a good man, when he knows that he's made an error and he at least admits it. I take my hat off to Niki.
Speaking of Niki Lauda, his teammate, his McLaren teammate, car number 7 is John Watson. He is now running in 9th place, although he's 1 lap back. Watson has a habit of starting poorly in the time trials and doing poorly in qualifying, but coming on in the race.
Yeah, John Watson has shown enormous maturity in this particular area. Whereas you see her live from Montreal, John Watson has won races incredibly often under those circumstances, and it's quite amazing to me that, in fact, he can expect to do as well as he does from right back at the end of the grid. In Long Beach this year, he started in 23rd position and went on to win the race, which is pretty much a record. I once started in 17th position, but won the race on one occasion.
There he is, right here, car number 7, John Watson on the right. The second car, almost identical coloring, is De Cesaris. He has a black tail wing. That's how you tell them apart. Watson has gone ahead of De Cesaris, and Watson has now moved into 8th place. Car number 7, John Watson, has moved into 8th place. The top 6, Arnoux, Patrese, Cheever, Tambay, Prost, the world driving leader, and the first of the non-turbos, Keke Rosberg. We're now approaching lap 33. On lap 33, Tambay, who is running third, is scheduled to come in for a pit stop. This is Patrese. Patrese is running second right now. There's John Watson, number 7. Watson standing in 7th or 8th place at this time. But again, the pit stops are going to be the story. Arnoux and Tambay both scheduled to come in very quickly, as is Keke Rosberg.
Well, Watson's about to be lapped, in fact, by Patrese. This shows the furious pace that we're involved in here. As we look at John Watson there being stopped, car number 7, the red and white car being stopped by Riccardo Patrese. Car number 6 coming into your picture, using that turbo power to accelerate along past the pits. He can't do it before this fast sweeping set of curves here. Not easy, but he will try to do it. He's moving over. Now there is a very gentlemanly move. And we have a pit stop right now. One of the Alfa Romeos have come into the pits. You can see the fuel line out there, and they're changing wheels as Alain Prost comes in. Alain Prost in the pits. We don't have a clock showing here. Now let's go down to Barry Gill in the pits.
9 seconds on my watch. Standing next to Gerard Larousse, watching the car. All 4 tyres on, the fuel in. And according to my watch, that car got away in just 15 seconds. And the man in front of me, Gerard Larousse, must be very proud of his team indeed.
That graphic was wrong. That was not Cheever in the pits. That was Alain Prost in car number 15. This is Riccardo Patrese. Patrese is currently running second to the Ferrari of René Arnoux, some 8 seconds behind. And that is Winkelhock, car number 9, the ATS Turbo from West Germany. He looks to be out of this race.
He's in trouble. He's going slowly. Yes, he's not going correctly. And here we have one of the Ligiers in the pits right now.
That's Vassell, Raul Vassell from Brazil.
Vassell there is having a problem with his aerofoil. His front wing is being prepared for some action by the mechanics. They've got enough of them round there again to eat it. They've taken off the front body work there to try and straighten out the front wing. He's obviously been in contact with another car. And there you see it. Pit work still goes on.
And in this Labatt Canadian Grand Prix of 1983, Patrick Tambay, car number 27, is currently standing in 4th place. Very interesting. The top cars are Arnoux, Patrese, Cheever, Tambay, Prost, Rosberg, and Lafitte on the same lap. The rest of them are a lap behind.
Keep in mind that Alain Prost has been in the pits. He's quite a long way back now, but he did not lose a lap on anybody, and he has already refueled and retired. So now the man that he is chasing is this man that you're looking at right now, car number 27, Patrick Tambay, who will unquestionably be entering the pits in a certain length of time that we are, this time, are not sure of exactly. We've now reached the halfway mark almost on this 70-lap race. The cars are on their 34th lap. As we see car number 2, Jacques Lafitte, coming into the Tag Williams pit. The mechanics dressed in flame-proof overalls with crash helmets on, just in case fire takes place. You can see a spare aerofoil there being held in place. Now, it's a question, off he goes, and we don't have a watch on that one. Perhaps Barry Gill's keeping an eye on those things for us. But he certainly was a slick stop. But remember, it's not just the time that they take to change those wheels and tires. And it looks like a Ferrari's in there.
Arnoux.
That's the leader. He's in. And he's got away. Ooh, he got a little wild stop. Slow start there, engaging the right gear, leaving the pit lane at great speed under our commentary position. So now the lead goes over to Riccardo Patrese, who will have inherited that lead while the leader was in there.
Patrese is yet to make his pit stop, though. Tambay and Prost have now completed their pit stops. So it is Patrese, the leader, in second place. The Renault of American Eddie Cheever. Arnoux has dropped down with the pit stop. There's Patrick Tambay. Patrick Tambay, Ferrari number 27, standing in 4th place.
I think we can expect to see Tambay shortly, since the leading Ferrari has been in the pits. I think Tambay, they will clear the debris away. They will make room for the new car to come in. For it stop, give the mechanics just a moment. And as I was saying earlier, keep an eye. These mechanics are properly garbed. They've got thermal underwear on, flame-proof. And there he is with full tanks and in great shape.
He's in great shape because the leader, Patrese, has yet to make his pit stop. Arnoux leading from start right through lap 33 is now running 5th. He will begin to climb back up, car 28 Arnoux, and we have just been flashed word from our director, Jim Marshall, that Eddie Cheever, there he is, car number 16, the number 2 Renault, is into the pits, and Barry Gill is standing by. Barry.
And here you see Eddie Cheever, this well-drilled Renault team again. The men on every wheel, all 4 wheels already changed. 8 seconds only, 20 gallons of fuel, and he's done it in 12, 13, 14 seconds. According to my watch, was only 14 seconds. An outstanding pit stop by the Renault team, and Cheever very definitely back in the race. Back to you, Jackie.
Right, as we come back to the leader at this time, which is car number 6, that's the car of Riccardo Patrese, waving the flag for Brabham. The number 1 driver of that team, Nelson Piquet, has already fallen out of the race with mechanical trouble, and that's why you buy 2 good drivers, because if one has trouble, the other is good enough to stand in for you. So, Riccardo Patrese right now in the turbocharged BMW engine, Parmalat Brabham, the car run by Bernie Eccleston, who is the president of the Formula One Constructors Association. That is the organization that provides the Grand Prix racing around the world. 15 or 16 races each year making up the World Championship, and you see quite a battle going on right there on the racetrack. Patrese going through our shot. There you see Jacques Lafitte with Andrea Di Cesare behind him, and behind that, there he is with the identification of his sponsors well produced on his car. Riccardo Patrese.
And as Patrese leads, the number 27 Ferrari is now 2nd. That is Patrick Tambay. René Arnoux, the number 28 Ferrari, now back in the number, let's see, 4 or 5 position. Number 28, Arnoux. There's Tambay. Tambay is now running a strong 2nd to Patrese.
However, behind Tambay, I can see the Ferrari of René Arnoux stalking him, and I think you will see him coming into shot from time to time. I saw a flash of him in a previous shot there. That is Tambay. You can always identify him with the blue helmet, car number 27, the red car, of course. And we will see in a moment, there he is, there's René Arnoux, who was leading this race, who's had his pit stop, who's had his fuel, who had his new rubber. He's passing Danny Sullivan and the Benetton Tyrrell there. And here you see Keke Rosberg coming into the pits, the reigning world champion, stopping at the Tag Williams pit, pulling off one of the strips that he has in front of his visor. What's he doing? He's getting onto his shoulder harness there. Something's uncomfortable for him. He doesn't seem pleased. And there he goes, a very slick pit stop by the Finnish driver and his wonderful team led by Frank Williams himself. Car number 28 still out on the racetrack, René Arnoux. He's in 3rd position right now in our lap chart on lap number 37.
Here comes Patrese.
Here's our leader coming into the pits.
Barry Gill, bring us up to date. Very crucial here.
And this is a pit stop that matters. Riccardo Patrese. There are 11 men working on that car, 2 on each wheel. You've seen them leaping up in the air now to show they've finished. And that's all right. Now, that was absolutely fantastic. According to our watch, that was something like 12 seconds. And remember that Claude Murray, the Brabham team boss, actually planned those pit stops. He introduced them, and they've really made them work. Back to you, Jackie.
Well, the man that you talked about, Gordon Murray, a man born in South Africa to a Scottish mother, no less. Great designer of racing cars. Car number 27 there is Patrick Tambay driving the Ferrari.
And he's now the leader, Jackie Stewart.
He is the leader on the racetrack.
With his Ferrari teammate Arnoux now running 2nd. Patrese, in spite of the pit stop, is 3rd. Running 4th is American Eddie Cheever. And running 5th is the other Renault. That is Alain Prost. Car number 27, Patrick Tambay. Ferrari that won this year at San Marino. And having trouble on the left of the screen is number 2, Jacques Lafitte in the Williams.
The Williams was traveling slowly along there. You can see him on the left-hand side of our picture just as we follow Patrick Tambay, the natural leader, but keep in mind Tambay has not been in the pits. Tambay trying to find a way past, and he's found it. One of the Alfa Romeos, he's gone through. Alfa giving away over him. De Cesare's Alfa Romeo giving him a little leeway there.
Jackie, I'm wondering.
And here he comes into the pits.
Here he comes. I was just going to say, when's he coming in? Because he was scheduled to come in before René Arnoux. They've obviously changed strategy. So with Tambay in the pits, Arnoux goes back into the lead.
Man who was a member of the French ski team in 1966, Can-Am champion, keeping cool, calm and collected. The Ferrari mechanics dressed up for their helmets and overalls, racing cars to protect them in the case of fire. He rejoins the race, as René Arnoux will now be on the leaderboard, will be leading the race, will be Arnoux, car number 28. So he's got himself back to status quo, really. That's what he set out to do. We have one of the Candy Tolmans in the pits right now. That is the car of Bruno Giacomelli, young Italian, slightly more relaxed. You can stop him and see accelerates out. He's also driving a turbocharged Hart engine.
And we see the leader, car number 28, the Ferrari of René Arnoux. Patrese is now second, with Eddie Cheever running third, and running fourth, it is Patrick Tambay. Ferrari's very, very strong here in Montreal.
Well, René Arnoux must now have got his breath back, because, you know, when you come into something like a pit stop, you've got to be sure you come in at the right speed, that you don't run over any of your mechanics, for example, which I personally have done. You must stop securely in a position that's being designated to you. You must keep your engine running, because if it stalls when the engine is that hot, it is very reluctant to start again, particularly if it's a turbocharged engine. You've got to engage a gear at the right time, as we see one of the Alfa Romeos coming in for fuel. It looks like De Cesare jacking up the rear end of the car. It's Mauro Baldi, in fact. He's got the rear wheels off. The front wheels have been changed. The fuel is being filled. He's taking the fuel line off, the overflow line off, and here he goes, out of the pits. Really, you know, it used to be in the old days, Brian, that there was a very famous group down in the southern stock car races called the Wood Brothers. They were the slick guys when it came to stopping for gas and for tires. Nowadays, these Formula One teams are stopping as fast as anybody. So there, it's just a question of developing the state of the art.
Well, we saw Arnoux come in. He lost his lead, but he has regained the lead after the pit stop from this man, Riccardo Patrese in the Brabham. Patrese is running second. Very, very interesting. We talked about Baldi, car number 23, the Alfa that was just into the pits. He is standing in 15th place, a full 2 laps behind the leader, René Arnoux.
Well, the pace is fast and furious, and you can't nod twice without being in trouble. And if you lose any ground at all, it's so easy to get out of your pace here and suddenly find yourself 1 or 2 laps back. In fact, John Watson in 7th position, he's 1 lap behind the leaders. But there again, he's hoping to collect more championship points, as again Nigel Mansell comes into the pit. He's been a busy boy, certainly exercising his mechanics this day.
Busy out on the track is car number 6, Riccardo Patrese. Patrese currently running second to the Ferrari of René Arnoux. There's number 7, John Watson. Jackie mentioned Watson is in 7th place. However, he's in danger of now being lapped by the leaders. The only cars on the same lap are Arnoux, Patrese, Cheever, Tambay, Prost, and Keke Rosberg, the defending world champion.
Well, in fact, what will happen is that it's very possible for John Watson to be lapped for the second time. There you see, Ferrari in first place, Brabham in second, Renault in third, Ferrari in fourth, Renault in fifth, and then a Ford power unit in sixth position. That position being held by Keke Rosberg. As you look at Eddie Cheever, the young American, now living in Monte Carlo, brought up in Italy. His father runs health spas around the world, has been brought up in many different countries, as far away as Australia. Eddie Cheever driving his Renault with great delicacy there. And incidentally, Jacques Lafitte, who we saw traveling at a slow speed a few laps ago, has lost third gear, so he's in trouble.
Jackie, we should point out, as we look at Eddie Cheever in car number 16, watch his head. It's a very hot day here. Maybe for the viewers, you can point out when they start to get tired. How do you know by the head?
Most of these drivers are extremely fit, but if they do get tired, you see the head starting to loll from side to side and then using the headrest. At this stage, I wouldn't have expected Eddie Cheever to be worried too much by the heat. Keep in mind that these drivers started their season off in South America, down in Rio de Janeiro, when the temperature and humidity was enormously high. So they're fairly fit and in good condition. But drivers do get tired, not so many of them as experienced as Cheever now and as young as Cheever. But nevertheless, I used to lose about 2 to 3 kilos in weight during a Grand Prix, and I only weigh about 65 to 66 kilos, so that gives you some idea of the nervous energy, muscle tension, and perspiration that a driver goes through.
Car number 16, the Renault of American Eddie Cheever. And after 42 laps of this 70-lap race, it is Arnoux in the Ferrari, leading Patrese, Cheever, Tambay, and Prost. Stay with us. More of the 1983 Labatt Grand Prix of Canada as Sports Weekend continues. Ryan Williams, Jackie Stewart, and Barry Gill back at the Gilles Villeneuve circuit in Montreal. Car number 27, the Ferrari of Patrick Tambay, right now running in 4th place. The leader, also a Ferrari, is René Arnoux. Arnoux is in 1st place, followed by the Brabham of Riccardo Patrese. Patrese, although he is 2nd, is 12 seconds behind Arnoux. In 3rd place is Alain Prost, or in 3rd place is Eddie Cheever, actually. His teammate Alain Prost is in 5th place. So the top, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars. That is Arnoux, Patrese, Cheever, Tambay, and Prost are all turbo cars. And Jackie Stewart, we've talked so much about the turbos versus the non-turbo cars of people like Rosberg and Lafitte. Right now, Barry Gill will explain the difference between the turbos and the non-turbos.
What sort of engines are these Grand Prix cars have? Well, half the field will have normally aspirated engines. Those are engines like the one you and I drive. They're 3-litre Ford engines, but of course with fuel injection. But in 1977, Renault introduced a whole new dimension to Grand Prix motor racing. They introduced the turbo engine, an engine that actually uses the exhaust gases of the car. It works very simply like this. The exhaust gases come out of the engine in the normal way, and they go through the turbine to drive this compressor. That helps to mix air with the fuel to give enormous horsepower. The result of forcing all this air and fuel into the engine, and forcing is the word, is 600 horsepower from an engine that's only 1500 cc, like a small Canadian compact. It only does about 4 miles per gallon, but it wins motor races. The French have really started a turbo revolution.
And that turbo revolution is evident here this afternoon in Montreal as car number 28 comes through. René Arnoux, he's the leader. The top 5 cars are all turbos. Arnoux is first, followed by Riccardo Patrese, then Eddie Cheever. And into the pits right now is car number 22, the Alfa Romeo, Andrea de Cesaris, who is standing in the number 10 position.
And he's getting out of the car. Goodbye, Labatt Grand Prix of Canada for Mr. Cesare today. There's a lot of steam and mess and muck around there. A little extra fire extinguisher going on there just to quell something that was going on in the rear of the car. But De Cesare was perfectly clear on what was wrong with him.
René
right
Arnoux.
now, in no trouble, is René Arnoux. Car number 28. Smoothly getting him way around here. You know, as I said yesterday, when you asked me who I thought would win the race, Brian, I said that I thought it would be Arnoux because he really is a very talented driver in a first-class car, and so far he has not won a race while driving for Ferrari. He's had no victory this year. He's led from time to time, but he hasn't had a win. The man you're looking at right now is in 2nd position, Riccardo Patrese. He has not won a race this year so far.
In fact, he hasn't won since last year in Monaco, a race you know so well. His teammate, Nelson Piquet from Brazil, was the man that Barry Gill picked to win this race. Piquet went out early. He is the defending champion.
Brian Williams didn't choose anybody. Chicken, why didn't you give us a prophecy on that?
Listen, I picked the Toronto Maple Leafs to win the Stanley Cup. After that, I do no predicting.
Well, Eddie Cheever right now is back there in third position. This is a good finish for him, but remember, no race is over until the checkered flag is shown. I've seen an awful lot of motor races lost, even very close to the end, so don't leave your set. You stay close, because this race at Ile-Notre Dame is far from being over. We've now completed, we're on the 46th lap for René Arnoux, and of course it's a 70-lap race, and you've got a little bit of traffic coming into the hairpin here. Arnoux getting into some of that traffic as Cheever accelerates out.
Cheever in third place, chasing Patrese. Car number 7 is John Watson, 1 lap back. He is in danger of being lapped by car number 27. That is Patrick Tambay, the Ferrari. Tambay's running 4th. There's Patrese. He's 2nd. Eddie Cheever is 3rd. Car number 27, the Ferrari. Tambay is now 4th. Alain Prost, the Renault, is 5th. And defending world champion Keke Rosberg standing in the number 6 position.
In fact, Patrick Tambay is only about 3 seconds ahead. Cheever is only 3 seconds ahead of Tambay. So Tambay has a shot at third position here. He's come in, he's put new rubber on, new tires on, which may have helped the handling of his car. So the race is not yet over for that man. He could easily steal away third position from Eddie Cheever. Who knows?
Well, it would be very important for car number 27, Jackie Stewart, to steal away third position, because going into today's race, Tambay is 3rd in the world driving standings, only 5 points behind the leader, Alain Prost. And right now, Prost is running in the number 5 position. You're watching live coverage of the Labatt Grand Prix from Canada, and right now, in the pits, Barry Gilles.
Well, I must say, Jackie and Brian, the turbos aren't having it all their own way. As you know, Piquet had to drop out, and Andre de Cesaris, the man who so nearly won the Belgian Grand Prix, has just dropped out because the engine of his Alfa Romeo has failed. So this hot weather is taking its toll on the turbos. Back to you, Jackie.
Thank you, Barry. We're back up in our commentary position. Eddie Cheever right now behind Patrese.
Cheever is about to move into 2nd place. He is all over Riccardo Patrese.
Now, this is the place to do it. Eddie, my boy, you're not do it there. No, not for him at this moment, but there he is being stopped. It could be a problem here. They're both on the same manufacturer of tires. Eddie Cheever is driving the yellow and white car. Patrese, the blue and white car there as they go through the far end of the racetrack from here, a slow 2nd gear corner. Accelerating hard, putting 600 horsepower through there. Cheever's looking for a place to go through. He's going to attempt to pass, but not this time. I think maybe there's a slight transmission problem for Patrese because he was slow out of that last corner. He's now taking advantage of Cheever again. Cheever closes up once more.
This is the battle for 2nd place. The car on the left, number 16, Eddie Cheever, chasing the Brabham of Riccardo Patrese. They are both some 15 or 16 seconds behind the leader, Arnoux.
And then immediately behind him is the Ferrari. You can see the Ferrari 27 of Tambay's come into notion there. He is in contention. This race for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th is far from being over. Tambay now looking for Cheever to mess up a little bit the Patrese situation, and therefore by so doing giving him a chance to close a little bit up. It's quite clear to me that Patrese is going slower because these two cars have really got to grips with him as he tries to get through. No, he won't do it right now. This is not the place to pass. It is, however, the place to get into the mirrors. Can he come through here fast enough to slingshot him? Not this time, I fear.
The battle for 2nd place between Patrese, Cheever, and Tambay. Patrese in front, the blue and white Brabham, the yellow Renault of Cheever, and the blood-red Ferrari of Patrick Tambay.
Now it's a question of driving without any errors. The driver who misses a gear change or just makes the slightest error of judgment will be taken advantage of. Eddie Cheever has done it!
Yes, sir! Cheever has moved into 2nd place.
Very clean pass by Eddie Cheever. Now that's what you call snookering the other driver. Now watch Tambay try to take Patrese, because Patrese is now being put off the stroke a little bit. just been made to feel uneasy, and you can see that they've slowed up the field quite a lot because these other cars behind have filled up behind them. That's John Watson. They're, of course, a lap down, but that doesn't matter. He's still, and look at this, there he goes. The pass has been made by Patrick Tambay, who now puts himself into third position. So the order now is Arnoux in first, Cheever in second, Patrick Tambay in third, and Riccardo Patrese in the BMW engine Brabham has now put himself back into fourth position. He's definitely in trouble. He's going through a mechanical happening. He's not happy, and you will now see the car of Cheevers and Tambay pulling away from the rest of the field. In fact, Danny Sullivan driving the Benetton Tyrrell has passed Patrick Patrese as well, so that gives you some indication. The Ford power unit out-accelerating the turbocharged car out of the hairpin. Patrise's in trouble.
Well, the Brabham outfit in danger of losing their second car here this afternoon. Patrese's in trouble. Defending champion Nelson Piquet went out early in the race here in Montreal today. Patrick Tambay running third, would love to move into second, Jackie Stewart. If he finishes second and Prost doesn't pick up any points, Tambay would be the world driving leader.
Yes, but Prost will pick up points because right now he's in fifth position and he has a very good chance of getting into fourth position, which would give him 3 more points in the World Championship. So Patrese now is clinging on to a situation which, of course, doesn't directly affect him in the World Championship, but does affect his teammate Nelson Piquet, who could only stand on the pit lane and watch.
Well, Nelson Piquet started the day in second place in the world standings, 1 point behind Alain Prost, 4 points in front of Patrick Tambay, 5 points in front of Keke Rosberg.
At the back end of the circuit, very picturesque here. You can see John Watson there as we come into the slowest corner of the racetrack. The yellow and white car of Eddie Cheever driving with considerable maturity, not even using all of the road as he exited the hairpin. Patrick Tambay close behind him. Eddie Cheever was a great go-kart racer down in Italy for many years. A lot of the race drivers in Grand Prix racing today have been kart drivers. It seems to be a very good education for them. Fast part of the racetrack. Oh, and here we have a problem. Who is this?
That is Warwick.
That's an engine problem.
Derek Warwick in the Tolman car 35, and he is through for the afternoon. Warwick was standing in 10th place, but is 2 laps behind the leader, René Arnoux.
Well, you can see the fast move here by the emergency crews. There was a little fire there. They were immediately on top of it, snapped it out. Those people, a lot of them are volunteers, amazingly keen in motorsports, and without them, there could be no motor racing.
Eddie Cheever, Jackie Stewart said he was in karting. In fact, in 1972, he was the Italian karting champion, number 27, Gilles Villeneuve's number. The Ferrari of Patrick Tambay, Tambay running third.
Eddie Cheever, and there we're still dealing with a little fire. When a turbo goes wrong, they have a tendency of going very wrong, and they spill their fuel and gosh knows what outside there, and that's what's still being dealt with.
Eddie Cheever has yet to win a Grand Prix, born January 10th, 1957 in Phoenix, Arizona. Right now, 22 seconds behind the leader, René Arnoux. So the battle is definitely for second place between the yellow car, Cheever, and the Ferrari coming up behind him, number 27, Patrick Tambay. Arnoux is the leader by 22 seconds over Cheever. Patrick Tambay is third. In fourth place, Riccardo Patrese. The other Renault, the world driving leader, Alain Prost, is standing in fifth place. And Keke Rosberg, the defending world champion, is sixth. Those are the only cars on the same lap. John Watson is seventh. Harry Boutsen is eighth. Michele Alboreto in the Tyrrell, the winner last week in Detroit, is ninth. And Manfred Winkelhock from West Germany is 10th. Danny Sullivan at Tyrrell is 11th. But Watson, Boutsen, Alboreto, Winkelhock, and Sullivan are all 2 laps behind the leader, René Arnoux.
So there are the remains of the smoke of the car of Derek Warwick still going up there as our race leader comes into vision. René Arnoux, a mountain man, loves his fishing and loves his hunting, and a family man of the mountains of France. Lives near to Grenoble. great skiing part of France where the great Jean-Claude Killy won his gold medals at the Olympics in 1968, I believe it was.
René Arnoux is 34 years of age, has started 71 Formula One races, has won 4, has finished second on 5 different occasions. 1 week ago today, at about this time in the afternoon, Arnoux was feeling bitterly disappointed in Detroit as he had that big lead. He gave way to Piquet. Piquet then gave way to the eventual winner, Alboreto. Car number 1, the Williams, the first of the non-turbo cars, defending world champion Keke Rosberg from Finland. Rosberg right now is in 6th place, 1 minute and 19 seconds behind the Ferrari of René Arnoux.
Well, we're following the reigning world champion, Keke Rosberg, man who flies his own plane. And there you see a wonderful helicopter shot of the Ile Notre Dame, and there is our helicopter with our cameraman legs dangling out of it. One of our 22 cameras around this wonderful racetrack of 4.41 kilometers and 2.74 miles. I ran around it the other day, as did Brian, another time, another hour.
I ran around it twice, though.
Well, one-upmanship, that's all I call that. But did you run it round as quickly as I did?
No, I didn't. I didn't qualify.
Right now, this man in car number 27, Patrick Tambay, was in our picture. There he goes again, flashing through the screen. 1957, you said that the young man Eddie Cheevers, who leads Patrick Tambay in this race, was born. My goodness, in 1957, I was winning the West of England Shooting Championship for clay pigeon shots. So there we are. That was a long time ago. I had just got my driving license when he was born. That makes me feel older than I really am.
As a matter of fact, yesterday was your birthday. 44, happy birthday.
Well, thank you. There's a man of 34 years of age driving there right now. I retired when I was 34. I don't think René Arnoux has any idea of retiring right now.
When you retired, I am told that one of your 2 sons had a great suggestion for future employment.
Yeah, he felt I was going to have trouble making money in the future, and what he suggested was that I drive the school bus as regular income for the family. Gladly, I haven't had to do that quite yet, but I did go and drive the school bus, took everybody home one night, which I'm not sure was a highlight of their life.
They've probably never been the same since. René Arnoux, after 53 of 70 laps here in Montreal, now increasing his lead. His lead is 21.5 seconds over the number 16 Renault of American Eddie Cheever. In 3rd place, the other Ferrari, Patrick Tambay, 23 seconds behind René Arnoux. Barry Gill.
Well, Jackie, we've heard of people coming in because their tyres are wearing out. Nigel Mansell in the John Player Lotus has, believe it or not, made 6 pit stops for changes of tyres. The reason being, his tyres are so sticky, they're picking up all the rubber from the track. And it's like driving on lumps of jellies with ball bearings on them. This is the sort of stuff he's picking up, undrivable, so Nigel Mansell has retired. One of the strangest stories I've ever heard in Grand Prix racing. Back to you, Brian.
And our thanks to Barry Gill. Barry from London, England, joining us here this afternoon, doing an outstanding job in the pits. That is Alain Prost, car number 15.
I think who's just passed Riccardo Patrese.
He has.
It looks to me that on our lap chart here, he has not yet completed this lap. So therefore, I think you'll see the pass as we look at it in slow motion. And that is Alain Prost. Very important pass for the World Championship, because Alain Prost, by getting himself into 4th position, will pick up 3 points in the World Championship, giving him, if he can hold that, a lead of 4 points over Nelson Piquet, the Brazilian driver in the race for the championship.
And, of course, there's Patrick Tambay. Tambay would love to catch Prost here today in the world standings. He's currently 3rd, but if Prost finishes 4th, Tambay will not catch him. Prost will still be the leader. Piquet, who was 2nd, or is 2nd right now, not counting this race, is already out of the race here, will pick up no points today. Car number 15, Alain Prost.
Alain Prost is not having a particularly good race for him, incidentally. Although he's got himself up into that position of 4th, it's not really as he would like it. I'm pretty certain that you will find that he will come into the pits after the race and say that his car was not behaving nearly as well as he would like to have had it behave.
He is 28 years of age. has started 49 Formula One races, has won 7. And after 54 laps here in Montreal, the warm summer sunshine is not affecting those turbos. Arnoux is a turbo, Cheever is a turbo, Tambay a turbo, Prost and Patrese all turbos, until we get down to Keke Rosberg and the Williams non-turbo Ford. We thought the heat might affect the turbos. It has not, Jackie.
Well, in fact, if Patrese doesn't improve his position rapidly, in fact, Keke Rosberg will be getting ahead of him as well. And in fact, we've got a situation in the pits. One of the Renaults have gone into the pits.
That is Prost.
It is Alain Prost. This is now unscheduled because he's already been in the pits once. Look, they don't know what they're doing. It's a little bit like a Japanese fire drill. They've dropped the car before they should have done. They got it up in the jack, then they dropped it. I'm afraid the Renault people will not be happy about this because this is throwing away very valuable World Championship points for Alain Prost. Have what I would have to call a slightly sloppy pit stop.
Prost is back on the track, but that pit stop could cost him the lead in the world standings. The leader in this race right now is car number 28, the Ferrari you're watching, René Arnoux. Now, Arnoux started today in the world standings in 7th place with only 8 points, 20 points behind the leader Prost. However, his Ferrari teammate Tambay is now running 3rd behind Cheever. Tambay, if Prost falls back, could take the world lead here this afternoon with a 2nd place finish if he could come on and catch Cheever. Now, after 55 laps, car number 28, René Arnoux, increasing his lead. Now 25 seconds over American Eddie Cheever. In 3rd place, Patrick Tambay, followed by Patrese, Rosberg, Prost, Watson, and Boutsen. Barry Gill standing by in the pits.
And with me now, Raoul Vassell from the Ligier team. Raoul, what happened to you?
Well, to start, I just have a touch in gear in the circuit and bent my front wing. And after, I think I'm 12 or 11, and the transmission broke. So I stop in the pits, see if can do something. I go out, but not can do. I stop in the track.
Thank you for talking to us. Better luck next year.
Okay.
Back to you in the booth.
That was Raoul Vassell and the leader, René Arnoux. Jackie.
Right now, going past our position here, coming to a stop, in fact, seems to be Patrese. He's gone past, going very slowly around the racetrack. Patrese's in trouble. It looks like he has already been passed by Keke Rosberg, who's now up to 4th position. Valuable points for him. So Patrese, I'm afraid, is in big trouble. No trouble yet, badly, for the young Frenchman, 34 years young. René Arnoux driving for Ferrari, and this is first season for Ferrari. It's got to now just stay out of trouble. He's a long way ahead of Eddie Cheever. He's 27 seconds ahead of Eddie Cheever's, well in hand, and he should really now, at a 27-second cushion, be able to back off a little bit, use fewer revs. There's another car in the tip. Winkelhock is into the pits. We've seen him in the pits before. Look at his arms going. It looks like he's conducting the Montreal Symphony Orchestra.
Winkelhock in the ATS Turbo, number 9, coming back on the course, currently standing in 10th place, but he is 2 laps behind the leader, René Arnoux, number 28 in the Ferrari. Jackie, we're talking about his big lead. Now only 13 laps to go in this Labatt Canadian Grand Prix. He could lose a second a lap and still win by 14 seconds.
Yes, but you know, for a driver, he doesn't want to lose too much because you lose your pace and you lose your balance. And when you do that, you can start to lose concentration, and therefore that is the time where you make errors. Keke Rosberg still driving very hard because keep in mind he's got himself up into 4th position. That's pretty impressive. And remember, this is the Ford normally aspirated engine. I, in fact, forecasted a normally aspirated Ford would finish in the first 4 or 5, and sure enough, we've got Keke Rosberg into 4th place.
Keke Rosberg started the day in 4th place in the world standings, 12 points behind the leader, Alain Prost. Keke Rosberg starting his 59th Formula One race. He has won 2 of them. One of those wins came this year in Monaco. Here's Patrese into the pits. Patrese right now is 5th. His teammate Nelson Piquet, the winner here last year, went out early. Patrese into the pits. And we are attempting to communicate with Barry Gill. Is Barry Gill in the pits to talk to Patrese?
Just 1 minute ago, I saw Gordon Murray, the chief engineer of Brabham, pick up his briefcase, close it, and walk away. And this was the reason. He knew that Patrese's race was over. He's on his way to the airport. And here's one of the most disappointed men in Montreal today. Talking of disappointment, Alain Prost. Alain Prost came in for a pit stop which was not scheduled. 26 seconds. Let's talk to Brabham team manager Herbie Blatch to find out if he knows exactly what happened to Patrese. What happened?
We've got a gearbox problem.
This really hasn't been Brabham's day, has it?
No, it hasn't.
Very sorry. Thanks for talking to us, Herbie. Back to you in the box, Jackie.
Well, this here back up here, we have no problems as we can see for our race leader, René Arnoux. We've noticed that Winkelhock, the German driver, he seems to be in transmission trouble also. We've got 14 different nationalities of drivers competing in this Labatt Grand Prix of Canada. People have come from all over the world to see this weekend. We've seen people from France, from Germany, from Monaco. They've come from every corner of the world to see this, a very glamorous sporting occasion.
Lovely lady here from Geneva, Switzerland.
Yes, Mrs. Helen Stewart's gracing us with her presence too.
Barry Gill was talking about the Brabham troubles. Piquet and Patrese are both out of the race as we look at Eddie Cheever, who is now second. He's falling back. He's now 31 seconds behind the leader, Arnoux. A tough day for Brabham. Piquet started from the number 3 position, and Patrese from the number 6 position. They are both gone. Now, a very interesting story. René Arnoux, Eddie Cheever, Patrick Tambay, Keke Rosberg, the only cars on the same lap. After 59 laps, Arnoux, Cheever, Tambay, and Rosberg. Prost is now 1 lap behind, as is John Watson.
Nevertheless, Watson's on the leaderboard. Again, demonstrates that try again. Was it Wallace or was it Bruce? It was Bruce in Scotland who saw the spider climbing up the cave. And
In where?
In Scotland. Robert the Bruce said, keep try again. You never give up that way, and that's exactly what you can see with John Watson. He's up into the leaderboard, into 6th position, a valuable championship point.
Well, John Watson's already won a Grand Prix this year. He won it in Long Beach, California. He was on the leaderboard last week in Detroit talking about perseverance. René Arnoux, who started in the pole position, blew an engine this morning in practice. They put in a new engine. It has been absolutely perfect, as he now has a 34-second lead over the 2nd place car, American Eddie Cheever in his Renault. 10 laps to go, and we'll return for the finish of the 1983 Labatt Grand Prix of Canada.
Seines zweiten Boxenhaltes. 6. ist John Watson, 7. Thierry Boutsen, der junge Belgier, der bereits in Detroit diesen 7. Platz belegt hat, der eigentlich dort schon hätte 6. werden können und seinen ersten Weltmeisterschaftspunkt erreichen können, wäre er nicht wegen eines schlechten Sitzes von Krämpfen geplagt worden. Er hat den linken Fuß fast nicht betätigen können. Er hat große Schmerzen gehabt und ist dadurch hinter Nigel Mansell in Detroit zurückgefallen. Boutsen also 7., Alboreto 8., Sullivan 9., Winkelhock 10. und Baldi 11. Nur noch diese 11 im Rennen. Ich bin Ihnen noch schuldig, warum ist Riccardo Patrese ausgeschieden? Es waren Schwierigkeiten mit dem Getriebe, es war ein Defekt des Schaltgestänges. Schnellste Runde im Rennen bis jetzt Patrick Tambay mit dem Ferrari 1:30.851 in der 42. Runde. Und wir sehen hier John Watson, Niki Lauders Teamkollegen, der also heute einem weiteren Weltmeisterschaftspunktegewinn entgegenfährt. Member of the British Empire, ausgezeichnet worden für 10 Jahre Werbung oder Dienst im internationalen Motorsport zum Ansehen Großbritanniens. Natürlich auch für 5 Grand Prix-Siege. Den letzten hat Watson in Detroit erreicht. Damals war es der McLaren-Doppelsieg. John Watson vor Niki Lauda. Watson hat von dieser Auszeichnung schon vor 5 Wochen erfahren. Gestern am 30. Jahrestag der Krönung der Queen Elizabeth II. Wurde es offiziell verlautbart und entgegennehmen wird Watson diese Auszeichnung natürlich im Buckingham-Palast. Es gibt sehr viele englische oder britische Motorsportler, die von der Queen ausgezeichnet wurden. Mike Hailwood hat ebenfalls den MBE Den OBE, also Office of the British Empire, hatte Jackie Stewart, der neben mir für das kanadische Fernsehen den Grand Prix von Kanada kommentiert. Den gleichen Orden hatte auch Sterling Moss bekommen. Jack Brabham wurde sogar zum Ritter geschlagen. Hier haben wir Alboreto.
Back at the Labatt Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal. 8 laps to go. The leader is René Arnoux, now by 36 seconds over Eddie Cheever. Running third is Patrick Tambay, running fourth is Keke Rosberg. As you look at live pictures from this Gilles Villeneuve circuit, the yellow car, number 15, is that of Alain Prost, the Renault. He started the day the world driving leader. However, right now he is in 5th place, 1 lap behind the leader, René Arnoux. The only 4 cars on the same lap are Arnoux, Cheever, Tambay, and the non-turbo of defending world champion Keke Rosberg. If you're just joining us and wondering why we're so late, there's Rosberg, the first of the non-turbos, running in 4th place. The reason is a massive power failure here in this area of Montreal. Jackie Stewart, we finally got underway some 50 minutes late, but since then it has been smooth sailing. Fortunately, no major incidents.
No, it's been a very clean race. They've got wonderful medical facilities here in Monaco and great emergency crews to deal with everybody. I must say that the organization of this Labatt Grand Prix of Canada has been extraordinarily efficient throughout the whole weekend here. We've seen all of the facilities they've had. They've got over 200 marshals around here with the emergency teams. They've got 22 vehicles comprising of the rescue teams. They've got 56 specialists crewing those emergency units, 2 helicopters for hospital work if needed. They've got 50 doctors and 12 nurses just for all these drivers and so forth. And that, in fact, is a very healthy way to look after motor racing. It will never be completely safe. But of course, if something does go wrong, you want to be well equipped to deal with it. Right now, a man who's dealing with things in a very adequate fashion is driving the car that you're looking at, and there's his picture in the top right-hand frame of your television set. René Arnoux, the young, smiling Frenchman. He dare not give himself a smile at the present time. There are still 7 laps to be completed, and you know, you can never relax. You know, every time you think, well, it's only 7 laps, nothing can happen now, bang, something breaks. It's so, keep in mind that there are thousands of moving parts in that car, supplying him with his power and transmission and cornering at this very moment. Any of them could take him out of the race.
The 2nd place car, the number 16 Renault of American Eddie Cheever. Jackie, we wondered if Arnoux may pull it up and take easy. When we asked that question several laps ago, he was leading by about 27 seconds. He has now increased that lead to 38 seconds over Cheever, 51 seconds over Patrick Tambay, and a minute 20 over Rosberg. The rest are at least 1 lap behind as we near the finish of this 1983 Labatt Canadian Grand Prix. Car number 7, the McLaren, John Watson, a winner this year in Long Beach, California, currently in 6th place, 1 lap behind the leader. Let's run down the leaderboard for you right now, the top 10. René Arnoux, followed by Eddie Cheever. Patrick Tambay is 3rd. Keke Rosberg is 4th. 5th, Alain Prost. 6th is Watson. Terry Boutsen is 7th. 8th, Alboreto, then Sullivan and Winkelhock.
And that is Boutsen, who's right up behind John Watson there. The white car being driven by Terry Boutsen of Belgium. He's giving him a hard time. This is a World Championship point race that you're looking at. This is for 6th position in the race. If Terry Boutsen were to sneak ahead of John Watson, that would give him a very valuable World Championship point, which would assist the Arrows team, and that's who he drives for. Terry Boutsen studied under Jackie Hicks as a racing driver, and of course obviously wants to show himself today.
What an accomplishment that would be if Boutsen can pick up a point as we watch him chase McLaren. This is only his 3rd Grand Prix start. He started in Belgium, then started last week in Detroit. Here is his 3rd start today in Montreal. And Thierry Boutsen in the Arrow, car number 30, currently in 7th place, chasing number 7, John Watson.
Well, John's already using parts of the racetrack, which he would not normally drive on, just to keep him a little bit ahead of Boutsen as Boutsen comes along, and he's hit him. His front wing has gone off. He hit him in the front wheel. The front side of Boutsen's car hit the rear end of Watson's car. You can see the wing is missing from the white car of Boutsen's. I don't think he's done any damage to John Watson's car, but surely that will not allow. And here we see it again in slow motion. Boutsen being a little impetuous there. He hits the back end of the car of John Watson. Watson used his traditional line. Now,
what does that do to the car?
well, Boutsen's car will not now be getting the aerodynamic assistance that would normally be pressing the car down firmly on the front end of the vehicle. There are these two wings that you see, one in each side of Watson's car. In Boutsen's car, there is now only one, which means that he will only be getting half of the efficiency of the aerodynamics. And you can see it looks like he's lost a tooth from his mouth there. It's a little unpleasant to look at and surely be unpleasant to drive. It will introduce something called understeer. That's when you turn the steering wheel to go right and the car wants to go straight on. It doesn't go completely on, but it doesn't point into the corner the way that you would intend it.
Well, it certainly looked like Thierry Boutsen from Belgium would pass John Watson and move into 6th place, but with the wing missing, Boutsen, I doubt, will be able to catch Watson here. Only 4-5 laps to go in this 1983 Canadian Grand Prix.
What you saw just now, Brian, was a little bit of exuberance in youth. It was just the old boy, John Watson, showing his authoritative experience.
The member of the British Empire.
He got awarded by Her Majesty the Queen the MBE just the other day. There you have our leaderboard. After 65 laps, René Arnoux of France, Eddie Cheever of America. In 3rd place, Patrick Tambay of France, Keke Rosberg of Finland, Alain Prost of France, and John Watson of Northern Ireland, Belfast, in the United Kingdom.
Our number 28 is our leader, René Arnoux. Arnoux continues to widen that gap. It is now 43 seconds over American Eddie Cheever. René Arnoux, all but home free in this 1983 Labatt Canadian Grand Prix. Arnoux will pick up 9 points for winning. That would give him 17, moving him into 4th place in the world standings.
Well, René Arnoux now has to just drive very conservatively. He's only got 4 laps to complete. 4 laps around this 4.41 kilometer racetrack, 2.74 miles. He's got 17 corners to complete, as Patrick also has, 17 corners per lap with 2 bends. Slight swerves more than bends.
Patrick Tambay, car number 27, the other Ferrari, is running number 3. Gilles Villeneuve, of course, revered here in Montreal, and the Montreal fans will be so very, very happy with the great performance by Ferrari here today. Arnoux the leader, Cheever in a Renault is 2nd, and this man, number 27, Tambay in Villeneuve's car, is running 3rd.
I suspect that we will find that indeed Patrick Tambay is going a little bit faster than Cheever right now, because just looking outside our commentary position, he seems to be closing the gap just a wee bit. But of course, it's quite a gap that he has to close as we see it right now. But who knows? It's 11 seconds on the road. And if there is something wrong with Cheever's car, you look at Tambay in the top right-hand side of your picture. Good-looking, personable young man, represents the sport of automobile racing in a very admirable fashion. Has been the Can-Am champion in the United States of America, was in Grand Prix racing a few years back, lost his drive for McLaren, somehow or other seemed to fall out of grace, and everybody would have said that that was the end of Patrick Tambay in Grand Prix racing. Then suddenly, when Didi Pironi had his accident, when Gilles Villeneuve had his accident, Patrick Tambay was brought into the team by Pironi originally, because he took over the drive when Gilles had his awful accident in Belgium. So he came back into Grand Prix racing and adapted like a duck to water. He's done very well.
Car number 1 belongs to defending world champion Keke Rosberg from Finland, the non-turbo Ford-powered Williams. Rosberg the last driver on the same lap with the leader, Arnoux. Arnoux now 45 seconds in front of Eddie Cheever, 55 seconds in front of his Ferrari teammate Patrick Tambay, and a minute 18 in front of Keke Rosberg. The rest of the cars all at least one lap back, as we now have 2 laps to go in this 1983 Canadian Grand Prix. The Alfa Romeo you saw, and once again we see Keke Rosberg, car number 1, running fourth.
An admirable finish for Keke Rosberg if he can keep this car going for another couple of laps. He's been a very forceful driver from Finland. You see him again on the top right-hand side of our picture. He's never been the smoothest, gentlest driver on a car, but he's been very effective. His win at the Grand Prix of Monaco this year was, in my mind, the best drive that he's ever had. He drove under very difficult conditions. The track was wet at the beginning of the race. He was driving on dry tires, and he surely did a wonderful job. So therefore, my hat off to him. He's again shown that the normally aspirated Ford engine can still do it, but not well enough to keep up with this man who's our leader.
René Arnoux, 34 years of age, starting his 72nd Grand Prix, and now appearing ready to win his 5th race. Arnoux increasing the lead. He continues to go faster. Cheevers now trails him by 46 seconds. Tambay by 56 seconds.
Well, of course, he just has to take it easy now. There's no point in pushing at this stage. He can't afford to make any mistakes. We're looking towards our flag man as he comes out of the slow corner. He will be given 1 lap to go. The flag man will put up 1 finger in the air.
There it is.
There you see it. We look at our commentary position. The man with the checkered flag has now taken it from the rack, and now René Arnoux is on this 17th and final lap around this racetrack.
Ferrari trying to win here in Montreal for only the 2nd time. The first winner, the late Gilles Villeneuve in 1978. Alan Jones won in 79 and 80. Jacques Lafitte won in 1981. The defending champion is Nelson Piquet, and this man will win in 1983 on the final lap. The number 28 Ferrari of René Arnoux.
Well, he's now driving very conservatively around the racetrack. He's already going much slower, changing gear earlier, holding his breath almost. He has to recognize that the race is never over until the flag falls, but he's now on the back section of the racetrack, right down by the river, accelerating along, unquestionably slower than he's been driving before. Must be getting a little tired. I'm sure he's quite tired from this drive, but has dominated very, very fully the race, has paced himself well, including his pit stops. Now he comes in to this final corner. Here you see him going round the hairpin. All he needs to do is accelerate out of here quickly, and he could almost freewheel back. The flag man in the top right-hand side of your picture, taking the checkered flag out. Brian, there it goes.
René Arnoux has officially brought Ferrari to victory in Montreal in 1983. Arnoux finishing some 42 seconds ahead of American Eddie Cheever, who crosses the finish line. Eddie Cheever, 16, finishes 2nd. Patrick Tambay finishes 3rd.
Well, Eddie Cheever's still going round the racetrack. He's still coming into the slowest corner of the racetrack. The 2nd car in your picture is that of Eddie Cheever. He's still got to complete a few more 100 meters, Brian, to take this checkered flag, and you've got to finish to get that position. Winkelhoff takes it. Eddie Cheever officially now finishing 2nd. Now the man in 3rd place,
Patrick Tambay, the other Ferrari. The Ferrari of Tambay and the Renault of Cheever finishing well behind the Ferrari of René Arnoux.
Then we would be looking for Keke Rosberg to take the checkered flag, and Alain Prost. Rosberg taking 4th position, and there you see a jubilant Arnoux.
There's Rosberg.
Arnoux waving to the crowd, already taking one of his gloves off. The marshal's giving up thumbs up, and there you see Rosberg taking
the
4th
flag.
position. That helps him, picks up World Championship points, 3 of them for him.
And the final standings in the 1983 Labatt Canadian Grand Prix. Ferrari dominates the day. René Arnoux, the winner. The Renault of American Eddie Cheever was second. The other Ferrari, Tambay, finishing third. The non-turbo car of Keke Rosberg's fourth. That is Manfred Winkelhock in the ATS. Turbo Winkelhock has finished in 10th place, or was in 10th place.
Well, he's stopped, as you can see, but there is a car still coming slowly around the racetrack, the Ferrari, being driven by René Arnoux, being taken into the scrutineering area. The technical committee will have to inspect the car before official confirmation of this victory will be announced. So the results that we give to you are subject to official confirmation.
We should salute Jackie Stewart, the pit people here in Montreal. They've done a fine job, no problems with the fuel changes today.
Alboreto congratulating René Arnoux, the winner of last week's Grand Prix in Detroit, congratulating René Arnoux, taking his balaclava off. Look, you can see he's gaunt, he's tired, you can see he's lost a little bit of weight. It's certainly no easy matter, waving his driving glove to the crowd, obviously jubilant people, very happy for him. He's done a good job, this young man, and we'll be back to this live presentation in the Montreal Circuit of Gilles Villeneuve in just a few minutes.
Der Autostoppdienst funktioniert. Hier wird Manfred Winkelhock zurückgebracht, und zwar von dem Alpha-Fahrer Mauro Baldi. Meine Damen und Herren, wenn ich noch nachtragen darf, Niki Lauda ausgeschieden wegen eines Drehers beim Versuch, Bruno Giacomelli, den italienischen Tollman-Piloten, zu überholen. Damit ist Niki Laudas Negativserie in Kanada leider weitergegangen. Der nächste Grand Prix für Sie in 5 Wochen, und zwar am 17. Juli, großer Preis von England, das klassische Ereignis der Formel 1 auf dem umgebauten Flughafenkurs von Silverstone. Für heute darf ich mich von Ihnen verabschieden, wünsche Ihnen noch eine sehr gute, angenehme Nacht und darf Sie noch auf unsere morgigen Sportsendungen hinweisen. Kurz nach 20 Uhr in FS1 unsere aktuelle Sportinformationskurzsendung und dann natürlich wie jeden Montag der Sport am Montag. Gute Nacht und auf Wiedersehen.
1983 Labatt Canadian Grand Prix. The man on the right, leading on the cab of the truck, is René Arnoux. Jackie Stewart, we had a delay, maybe 45 minutes to an hour because of a massive power failure here earlier this afternoon. But once things got rolling, it was smooth sailing for René Arnoux. He started in the pole position, led for the first 35 laps, came in for a fuel stop, but Trezay and the Brabham led for laps 36, 37, and 38. His Ferrari teammate, Patrick Tambay, led for lap 39, but on lap 40 of this 70-lap race, Arnoux jumped back into the lead and never, ever looked back.
Well, it's been a wonderful race. We're waiting for the group to assemble on the victory rostrum. I must congratulate, as I said, all of the organizers, all of the officials, the marshals, and of course Labatt for bringing this Grand Prix of Canada to so many people. Look at the crowd shots here. I've never seen a more enthusiastic crowd for motor racing, I don't believe ever, as we look high from our helicopter shot down to the already dispersing crowd.
We talked earlier, I mentioned to you we should congratulate the people in the pits. There were no fires. It's very, very difficult in those pits when they make the fuel stops. Pierre Desjardins, the president of the Labatt Brewery of Quebec, getting ready to make the presentation to the 1983 champion, René Arnoux. Arnoux was first. Eddie Cheever, the American, in the number 2 Renault. Car number 16 finished second. And the other Ferrari driver, car number 27, that was Villeneuve's number, Patrick Tambay, finishing third.
Well, they're now on the podium. And I think Pierre Desjardins is being introduced to say a few words.
Au nom de la brasserie Labatt, j'aimerais remercier les milliers de bénévoles et le comité organisateur pour la réussite de cette course. On behalf of the Labatt Brewing Company, I would also like to thank the drivers and their crew members for a superb race. J'aimerais remercier aussi, I would also like to thank la FISA, FOCA, la Fédération canadienne, la Fédération Auto-Québec, le gouvernement du Québec et la Ville de Montréal. Merci beaucoup. J'espère que vous avez aimé la course. C'est Mathieu.
Well,
Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, Monsieur
finished
Desjardins
his
procède
few
maintenant
words.
à la remise
President of the Labatt Breweries of Quebec. The three drivers standing there awaiting their presentation.
de France, Patrick Tambay.
Patrick Tambay being given his award by Pierre Desjardins. Then the carvings of Canadian artists. Always a very nice thing for any of us racing drivers to accept. It's a lovely thing to have. So Eddie Cheever gets second place, and again another carving high in the air. Eddie Cheever very pleased with that victory. And finally, Pierre Desjardins will present the Labatt Grand Prix de Canada. Pierre Desjardins of Labatt giving the laurel wreath to René Arnoux. René very happy. You can see his eyes tired, a few lines that he didn't have at the beginning of this race showing up in his face.
I think he'd like to maybe take a swim out back.
Well, the flags of the countries already up at the flag stand up there. You can see two French flags and the United States flag.
To the winner, René Arnoux.
There he receives his trophy, the Labatt trophy for the Grand Prix of Canada. Very grand trophy again from Pierre Desjardins. Congratulating René Arnoux. It looks as if it may well be too heavy for him.
We saw the winner yesterday, Moreno, in the Mondial race, the Players Quebec Mondial, having trouble with the champagne. Now the
And
national anthem.
the French national anthem is always very nice to see that. Well, René Arnoux still there, changing hats. So René Arnoux there, now being handed his champagne.
Eddie Cheever finished second, and
There we go. There goes the champagne. Oh, he's absolutely drowning each other there. Patrick Tambay and look at this. Eddie Cheever's got it in his eyes as Barry Gill goes up to try and have a word with him. He's
Eddie Cheever, quite a wet reception for you. Congratulations on one of your best ever drives.
Yes, my Renault ran very well today. Unfortunately, I had a bad practice session. I would have been farther up on the grid. I could have maybe done a little bit more. But I was very pleased with my Renault today, and it went very, very, very well.
René in his Ferrari gave you a very good race, didn't he?
Well, unfortunately, I started 6th, and I got off a very bad start, and I had to work my way up to the front all the time. Yes, I was never close enough to Renault to give him a race, so I settled for second.
This is, in fact, your second ever second place and your second best result, Eddie. What is it about North America that suits you as an American?
Cheeseburgers and a color TV. Really, it's just a question of how the car runs. I'm very pleased with how things have been going this year, and I hope that with Renault I can also get my first win this year, but I'm sure that'll happen.
And what about the pit stop, Eddie?
I'm not quite sure. I think my pit stop was a little bit too long.
Well, they really worked hard, those boys, though, didn't they? I mean, under all that heat.
Fabulous. In fact, the only problem is with the pit stops that you can either win or lose a race. But the mechanics have done a very good job throughout the whole weekend.
Eddie, thank you, and a super race. Thank you. And now we're going to...
Well, Barry's still down there. He seems to have lost his sound for the second. We're looking at the winner's rostrum. The drivers have already been presented by Pierre Desjardins of Labatt. The carvings for second, third, and a very beautiful trophy for the winner of the Labatt Grand Prix of Canada. We're now looking still at a very large crowd. Barry is there with waiting in attendance to speak to René Arnoux. Barry, can you hear us?
René Arnoux has done the easy bit. He's won the race. Now is the bit he enjoys the most, talking to us in English. René, first of all, congratulations on a superb drive.
I am really very happy because I am not very lucky
on this time, and I am very happy also to win on the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, because it's one good friend of me when it is here. And also I have a very good race. I am in front of the race always, and I win with no problem. I think I have also a good car, a good team, good mechanics, and is free. I don't know, is a work of all.
Well, I must say that your mechanics did a marvellous pit stop for you, René. Tremendous pit stop when you came in. The mechanics were fantastic.
Yes, it's always a small uncertainty. It's good, because when you stop, you don't know if you have some problem. You lose many time, but always here, my mechanics is very fantastic. I don't lose time, and I start. I am after 2 laps in front always of the race, because Patrice start for the refuel, and I have no problem during the race.
And there is still time.
Players, Jack, absolutely. Just the way.
This race is very, very important for me, and it's very important to take 9 points for the championship for me. It's good race for me. It's good for the championship. It's good for the team. I am really very happy.
And it was very good for the crowd. René Arnoux, congratulations on behalf of all your fans at CBC. René Arnoux. Frenchman. Thank you, René.
And thank you, Barry Gill. You talked about his mechanics on the pit stop. Don't forget, folks, they replaced the engine in the winning Ferrari after troubles in practice this morning. We'll continue with more live coverage of the 1983 Labatt Grand Prix of Canada as Sports Weekend continues.